Hi guys, I'm Bobby. We are Team 15. We are Anna, Michaela, Rasika, Samuel, Victoria, and I. And today we're talking about breaking borders of music. Next slide, please. So our mission is to break a mid-level artist into a new market for potential career growth. And today we're choosing Audrey Nuna. She's an Asian American rap and R&B artist, hailing from New Jersey, but has a South Korean background. Audrey has some US following, but we believe marketing her into the South Korean fan base could really open up a new world of fans not offered here in the States. And we found similar artists with similar fan base in South Korea to use as an inspiration to implement a marketing strategy in a new market. And we're using these case studies from both a data analytics and an artist marketing perspective to consult for Audrey's record label and marketing team. Next slide, please. So just a little thing about Audrey Nuna. She's 23 years old. She's definitely on an upcoming rising stage. And something noteworthy about her that she actually co-direct her own music videos and in charge of the creative control of her own content. And I think she's merging really her personal Korean culture background and American rap cultures. And she's also really actively involved with the Asian American music community space in America. Next slide, please. So why South Korean market? So apparently, of course, we know that South Korean music sales revenues and the market share has been exploding in the past 2 years. And we find out that Audrey actually has a huge Korean fan base on Instagram, but not on local DSPs, including Melon and Genie Music, indicating that there's actually more interest in her fashion aesthetics, rhythm music, but I think there is a potential for her to bridge that gap. So we're aiming to tailor her social media presence to the South Korean fan base. And Victoria will talk more about the Korean market share. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. Now we are going to review what the market share looks like for the most critical social and streaming service in Korea. YouTube is the most important one, followed by Melon, a service similar to Spotify in Korea. In third place, we have Instagram, and finally TikTok. So having this information, we understood that we first had to find a local artist who had already achieved a mainstream level with characteristics similar to Audrey's regarding gender, audience with similar interests and demographic. The artist we choose is called Loco. Next slide, please. He debuted more than 10 years ago. He has a steady career in Korea and he's known for his melodic flow by both Korean and international fans. Next slide, please.
And speaking of audiences, let's compare both of them. So you can see on this graph that they're actually quite similar, and especially in some categories that are very important in the South Korean market, including luxury, beauty, and travel. Next slide. And this is Audrey's radio plays throughout the world. You're able to see that she does have that North American region, but not as much in the Southeast Asian market. Next slide. And then if we compare with Loco's, definitely different, more concentrated in Asia. But next slide. When you put them together, there are some differences, but we actually saw they're pretty similar. And so maybe this is a chance for us to investigate more into social media coming up next, because these are radio plays, but what else can we find that could help inspire Audrey?
With data on the total listeners by country, we can narrow our results to the followers of each artist across popular streaming and social media platforms in South Korea. We utilize the Chartmetric API to get audience data for Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and artist metadata for data on Melon. We sorted and filtered through the data to return the number of followers for each platform in South Korea for both these artists. The bar graph here will help get a better idea of what platforms Audrey Nuna should engage with to grow her following. As we can see here, Loco has a greater following on Instagram and Melon, along with overlapping subscribers to Audrey Nuna via YouTube. Next slide, please.
So implementing this into a clear marketing strategy, first off, would be to collaborate with artists in her lane in Korea, such as Davida, Little Cherry, and Sogum. Also with social media, tailoring her YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok posts to stay on brand with what Korean audiences will identify with a concentration on YouTube, and also booking shows and concerts in big Korean cities such as Seoul and Busan, keeping in mind with all of this that it is still to be reviewed and adjusted by local partners in Korea who have a better understanding and knowledge of the local market. Next slide, please. And then we've also created a scannable Spotify playlist there with those artists that she should collaborate with, which you can take a listen to. And thank you so much, guys.
Perfect timing again. All right, on the nose. Thank you very much. 3 minutes for judges on the timer. All right, any judges have any questions? Zoe?
Yes, so you guys mentioned already that she's bigger on socials than probably what we see right now translating into streams on like streaming platforms. So I was just wondering if you maybe can give me a little bit more detail of how exactly you would do that, like push more on streaming platforms. Like, do you think social channels are still the main thing here, or would you focus on anything on the platforms specifically?
I can answer that. The first way would be to cross over to these streaming platforms via collaborations. Also pitching to editorial playlisters such as Spotify playlist editors and the Melon equivalent to land her on some of the most popular Korean playlists such as The Crown, which is the most popular Korean hip hop playlist as seen on Chartmetric. Also just kind of keeping in mind what some of the record labels that these artists we'd like her to collaborate are on, and copying some of the YouTube placements that they've achieved, such as appearing on variety game shows, and also tailoring her social media presence to utilize some of the same fashion that artists on the record label use, since that is something that Korean audiences are really excited by, and there's already a demonstrated interest there through her Instagram, having a large Korean following.
All right, we have enough time for one more short question. Okay.
If there's no more, do we still have time? If there's no more question, I want to add up a little bit to the previous question about like how do we implement in the marketing strategies, because we do recognize that Audrey Nuna has a strong fashion sense and aesthetics like expression on the social media already, that we think having that in mind and implementing in the Korean culture. And also we did like a little background research on how she has already collaborating with a lot of the Korean culture artists in America. So we do think it is a globalization of music, and we do think that the K-pop and Korean industry market, it has been integrating with US. So we do recognize that as also one of our initiative in this case studies. Thank you.